Do the second one. So when we type it in, it should look something like this. When we type it in, and it does, I think. If I look at my graph, it looks something like this. Whereas my asymptotes, I noticed that there are now 2x asymptotes. Maybe you see that, maybe you don't. There should be 2 here. How do I find that? I press second table. I've scrolled way down already. Let's scroll back up to where we think they are. It should be around 1 and, yeah. 1 and minus 1, which makes sense, I think. Because minus 1 squared gives 1. Kalim. Okay, where's the y asymptote? From the graph, it's somewhere that these 2 lines are tending towards. There's some barrier here. It's making that shape. How do we find that? Well, we can use our table again. We just go second graph, and we just check the table. I was scrolling down already. Scroll down where it's going towards as x gets bigger and bigger. Y is going towards the number, not 0. It's going towards the number 1. Okay, it's 1.000004. So that's getting closer and closer. So my 2 asymptotes for x were here at 1 and minus 1. And my asymptote for y is where this part of the graph is tending towards. Y is equal to 1, not this one, where this one is tending towards. That's just a maximum. This is where the graph is hitting some kind of barrier that it won't cross. Okay, what about the rest of the question? This is a really difficult question. Find the equations, we've done that. Find the domain and range. So the domain are the input values, x values. What can x be and not be?
X can be less than -1, and x can be more than.
Yeah, there's a couple ways we can write this. X can be less than -1. X can be greater than 1. So see here, these are only 2 barriers, but it can be between -1 and 1. So you can also write x can be between those 2 numbers. Oh, let's write like this. This is a really long way of writing it. That's one way of writing it. X can be all those things. It's bigger than this, less than this, and in between these 2. Another way of saying that, x element of or, but x is not -1 and x is not 1. That's another way. X is less than -1, x is greater than -1, and x is between -1. No, there's like multiple. I've got to write and almost between them, and all these things. X can be all these things.
Wait, x can be greater than 1?
Yes, yeah, x, you just saw it on, when I scroll down, x can be any number. It just, the y value, the input of x, the y value will be. X is the input. So the input to the function and y are all the outputs. So you can, it creates the line when you put all those together. Okay, the range then, what's the range? Can it be everything? There's a slight problem here. There's a maximum here that we need to find.
The vertex.
So there's this space between here and here that we're never going to fill. There's never going to be y value between here and here on my graph. Never. There'll be y values all the way up to infinity and all the way down, but there's a gap here. And you saw that gap because you saw that there was an asymptote in that gap. So we know what this one is. That's y is equal to 1. But what's this one? There's clearly a gap between these 2 that it's never going to be in. So we need to find this vertex, which you can do in your calculator, which you can do now. So how do you do that? You go to your calculator. You're on your graph. You want to find this vertex. You go second, trace. Find a maximum, Lucas. Thank you. Find the maximum. Oh, didn't mean to do that. Do that again. Second, trace. Find the maximum to the left. Find the left and right bound, and the maximum is at y is equal to -4. I want the y value because I'm looking at the range. So y is greater than 1. and y is less than or equal to minus 4. Because 1 was the asymptote, and I know that 1 has to be above that. Okay? The last part of the question said some value for k that will have 2 solutions. Where is it going to have 2 solutions? This. So k is a straight line like this. Where is it going to have 2 solutions? Yeah, so if I draw a line like this, all of these will have 2 answers. It'll cross twice. What's the only... We'll have, at this vertex, we'll have 2 solutions? No, just 1. Above 1, it'll also have 2 solutions. So how do I say this? K can be less than minus 4, but not equal to minus 4. And k is greater than 1. That's your answer for the last one. Okay.